There we go. I mean, it should work if I'm even audible from this perspective. So, yeah, webcam's working. Just gotta make sure the chat window I have down here is functional, because I'm not in a great position to access the PC. But anyway, I have just realised how awkward my angle is that I have to work with because of the webcam, but at least it's showing up. I can pause on YouTube so it doesn't take all my bandwidth. There we go. We do not need this tripod. It's just kind of stayed here. I mean, I am really trying to use a lot of the old Logitech C920 camera here, which isn't cut out for it. But I got a lamp and it seems to be coping okay. And the lamp is also in the way with this cable. I have to move. I'm prepared and I am totally professional and all that stuff. I think maybe if I pivot that a little. Yeah, I think that's about as good as I'm gonna get. I think it's about as good as I'm gonna get on it. Just one little lamp here, which you may have just seen. Now, I actually have 3 video card options. Granted, this is another backing plate. Only none of them are period accurate. That's a 710 2GB, but as I say, no backing plate. This is the one I'll probably use. It's a GT720, which again, not very period accurate, but I'm not buying another video card. This is also only X8 PCIe, and this is the best one if it works. Although I remember in a number of machines it didn't work. It's the R7240. So, it's half decent, at least for these other components, but, as I say, it may not work. So, I've got all my stuff. Oh, I have also, buried in my selection of stuff, I have the PS2 to USB converter, which I will not need actually, because this board has USBs and also the PS2 connectors on the back. Now, the case I intend to use this with, it has like a 4 USB header on the front, and then this slides into the back, makes it an all-in-one. So I'm thinking I could set it up that way, and that will be quite a good way to use this system. That's why I've got a low profile case. I also forgot to bring out the side panel, which I should have. But this will go in here. It'll be nice and low profile and everything. And I do have a Celeron heatsink from 2008, which is still actually quite healthy, surprisingly enough. And that will fit much better here. This one fits, it clears it, but there's not a lot of space for the CPU. So what we have is a E6600 here, 3GB of RAM, even though the board supposedly only supports 2, maxes out at something weird like 3.2 or 3.3GB. I just have a 2 and a 1 here, which seem to work quite well. I did have 2GB of ECC memory, which caused the weirdest issue of only working on 32-bit operating systems. Even though this doesn't even technically support ECC memory at all, it did work. I just couldn't put 64-bit anything on. Now, the hard drive, this is probably the first thing that we can change. I have May 2012, this says, as you can probably see on there. It's a bit blurry, but it says May 2012. And it's a 500GB hard drive pulled from a HP machine, which is no more because either the motherboard or the power supply had gone on that, and it was all so specialised that it couldn't be, you know, used without the other stuff. It just wasn't really worth saving for what it was. But I did get things like the optical drive and the hard drive and saved all that stuff. This is clearly not a 2006 drive. They did not have 3TB drives back then. That's the reason I've gone with this. Sorry, the reason I've gone with this 500. There were, I think in 2005, the very early 500 hard drives. So I'm building what's quite a nice machine for the time. As I say, that one's 2012. It's not really going to matter. I'm just trying to work with some healthy components I've got, which would have existed back then. Would have been purchasable. Hopefully I didn't hit through because I bumped the microphone. I think the music leveled okay. I mean, I've got the headphones and stuff, although I'm a PNG, because there's no way I'm going to get Facecam actually working with the way this is set up. So, the backing plate. These things are always a nightmare to get out. They're not so bad to put back in the machine. But I did have a 1st Gen i5 in here before. Granted, this case, I think they started production about 2010, maybe 2009. So it's not entirely period accurate. But it's not the furthest thing. It's a Stone 1210 case. This one is from 2017, but my point remains, it's about as close as I could realistically get with how everything is being used right now. I do have a 2008 case, which I am actually already using for a more powerful system, because it supports a Quadro RTX 5000. Not intentionally, but you can fit a huge Quadro in a case it should not have a Quadro in, because it's far too small to theoretically fit a card of that caliber. But this, as of this point, Quadros did exist, not the RTX 5000. There we go. I'm trying not to move this too much, but hopefully you'll see. There's these little catches and they're like slot in, and it holds quite well when it's in. But at times, especially if you get these things old and bent, yeah, like that's not quite in there as it should be. I don't think. Is it just? I think it's just loose. Sorry if I'm too close to the mic. I think it's just loose though, but still technically latched in there, if that makes sense. When the motherboard's pushing on it, I think it'll be fine. Because I think it is in there. Now, the standoffs here are kind of built into the case. So if you see these things, for example, that's where screws go. And that's where it's secure. I think I had given this a bit of a wipe down. That's why there's a wipe there. It's still dusty though. We do have 6 audio ports. Oh, sorry. I keep knocking this tripod. But we have 6 audio ports over luxury. And this, yeah, this slides in there quite well. Lines up. I think I'm going to go with these 2 screws I just pointed out here to begin with, because they seem easy enough. I have got some screws. I believe I just put them over here. There we go. So pick up 2 of them. I have not got a screwdriver. I have made a glaring oversight. I will be back in a moment. There we go. Can get my headphones back on. And this is a screwdriver. It actually has a nice feature. You can change the end and stuff, but has quite a nice feature where you can do that and lengthen it out. So as the screw is still somehow attached despite what I'm doing. As I say, with these you just want to get screws mounted and secured, and then kind of it falls together after there. Now, I don't believe my old C920 webcam has any kind of stabilization. So if I hit it, it's going to look pretty horrible on the capture, which I don't want. I mean, this is some come back to streaming, but I had to do my Core2Duo stuff. It is an important occasion for someone obsessed with 775. Which is the socket this uses now. Hopefully. I'm just thinking, because I've done up screws on that side. I don't want to end up doing them on this side and then find out I've got cables trapped underneath. That would be a nightmare. Okay. I'm immediately seeing one here, which should be easy to capture. There we go. It's not really showing up that well on camera because I'm blocking it with my arm, but it is in now. And another screw. You can pull washers here and stuff. It's a piece of history, but yeah, this has got a broken USB port. And someone cut one of the pins off the fan header. Sorry, I do keep hitting the mic. Someone cut one of the 4-pin what do you call it, doodles off the fan header. Why you would do that, I don't know. It was in a spares or repairs system. The board is like, despite the issues I mentioned, it works perfectly fine, but the video card was dead on it. Not a very good video card even, but you know, I got a good board out of it. At least this one is 2007 of a board that was sold in 2006, but this is a later manufactured model. There was, I think, G945 chips, I remember, which is why I've brought out my old video card selection, because single slot even. I do have a GT220, but I think this 720, sorry, is far better than a 220 and single slot. Like, as you'll see, I've got all these blockers on. I don't want to remove them yet. Although I do also have a PCI Wi-Fi card, which actually came with this board, which was it was PCI, and it was a full height card, but like someone had chopped it up and turned it into a half height card. So, I mean, that's a way of doing things. This is a 300 megabit per second Chinese Wi-Fi dongle. Should work fine on Windows, Linux, whatever. Might have to look for drivers and stuff. I won't be booting this today, but I will probably do another stream where I do. Still a few days to go until the actual release date of this Core2Duo back in the day. I feel like I should have just not cheapened out and got the E6700, but it just didn't seem worth it at the time. I just wanted an upgrade, a massive upgrade from the Pentium 4 that was in here. It's one of those boards. It supports some of the early Core2Duos, and it supports the Pentium Ds and the Pentium 4s, which, if you know anything about the Pentium 4 and how it worked, and the Pentium D associated with it, the Core2Duo is a lot better than those chips. I see another screw to be secured. This is going a little too easy now, I feel. You may not see this on camera, but there is a screw down there. It's just the angle isn't great. I think it might show up, but there's a screw just like down here. There we go. I feel like there's one in the middle. Just give me a moment. Untangle my headphone cable. I'm just trying to find it because I've got a screw left over here. Either this board doesn't use as many screws as the other one that I had in here before, or I'm missing one because it's very easy to miss. I think this is all it. That's where they cut one of the fan headers off. Very, very odd decision there. It doesn't ultimately matter. you can just use 3-pin fan headers. That's the only thing. It wasn't using the 4th pin, but cutting it off does nothing. I just don't understand it in the slightest. So, this is in here. This can go, hopefully. Or, you know what I said? This probably won't work, but I'll try it. It's a Pegatron card. The greatest name in all of gaming. Also an OEM name, but that doesn't matter. I have a Pegatron board, interestingly, and it has no X16 slot. So, sorry about that. I keep hitting the tripod. But I have a Pegatron board, and that's a 775 board. Very late one. And it's only got an X1. This is a card which cannot go in that board. That had, I think, GMA X4500 graphics, though, which are nowhere near as bad as whatever this has. I just don't want to use them. So, we've got to connect the power supply and stuff. Higher-end video cards often have a lot of pins. So, and I keep hitting things with either my headphone or my hand or whatever. That one is already plugged into the power supply. I would say I don't have to worry about that. I have to worry about the SATA. We have 4 SATA ports. So, decent strong number considering the age of this board. I think newer boards have had the same, but they've not also had the floppy and the IDE connections that this has. So I think if we just, that should go in there. I mean, there's not a whole lot of space. I won't be using an SSD because that's not 2006 at all. So if I can get another screw, I have got a various selection of screws of various sizes here that have all been just thrown in here. So find 4 that should work. There we go. I mean, it's just various assortments. And one of them is a slightly more gold colour. Let's start with this one. Because we are going to have to mount this hard drive. I think it takes these screws. I'm a professional. Gonna have to move my positioning. There we go. I mean, I'm probably not at the correct angle, like, I should probably just shorten this screwdriver, but anyway. I mean, I guess this shows it better because my arm isn't in the way of the... Yeah, it's not going in, is it? Right, I'm going to shuffle around. So, I want to pick up the mic decently well. Okay, there we go. Using my fingers has actually got it in. And then I can finish tightening with a screwdriver. We have now got that in. I have hit the lamp as well. Honestly, probably not the worst thing to hit out of this entire selection. This should all go into place now. Like, now I've got one in. I should be able to get all of them in with relative ease. I say that as I get none of them in with relative ease. Wait a minute. That's not going to work, is it? I'm being so dumb. The hard drive slides in the other way. The hard drive slides in the other way. There's no space for the cable to go in. Hi. Hi, Cat. I should have the chat open on this tablet thing, really, but it's just kind of a positioning. Anyway, I am building a computer. This is a 2007 board, which was also sold in 2006. Because after 20 years, the thing deserves building. And it deserves building better than me. Because I put the hard drive in the wrong way around. I mean, like, I'm not... I'm just not great at this. You'd think after so many years. Say 500. Which were available in 2006. Very expensive. There we go. Gonna need to lean over. There, I found it. Now, I'm so used to building these cases with SSDs, because although I do know the Stone 1210 chassis, I do not know them so much with conventional hard drives, weirdly enough. I know some of these were very weird because they had laptop hard drives, but on an adapter, even though they support a full desktop size hard drive. We have got the all-important DVD drive, which is a laptop DVD drive, just because it's smaller and easier to fit in the case. That is down here, the laptop DVD drive. That's from 2017, but we don't talk about that, we just pretend it's from 2006. I'll check the chat again. I mean, yeah, it's okay. Lurking, that's okay. I mean, I will be putting this together generally, and eventually boot it. So I'll eventually boot it, and then I can try and run some stuff on it. I'll probably just stick Windows 10 on it for now. Getting Windows 11 on this, if it even works, will be a nightmare. But it still supports Windows 10, so that's a chance to try some games on it and stuff. See if a thing can actually hold up after 20 years and play anything. I know it can probably play Portal, because that's 2008, so I highly doubt a 2006 fairly mid to high end CPU can't play Portal. I'll see if I can zoom in on the monitor, because that'll make reading chats easier. I should have done that a long time ago. I can now read chat from down here without using the tablet. I'll actually show you the tablet. This thing. Yeah. Now this is a much better setup. Just having the main monitor, which I've got up there, so it's zoomed in on the browser a lot more. So this is the 4-pin power. There is some cable tidy stuff built into the case. So there's that. The CPU fan is in there. I mean, I've mentioned before, but before I had this board, there's like a 4-pin fan header. Someone chopped off one of the pins. I have no idea why. But this is the period accurate board that I have. I don't have anything else that is period accurate precisely for 2006, so I'm trying to keep this thing as accurate as I can, realistically. There's the 4-pin. I mean, it probably makes me look stupid because the 4-pin is always visible on camera, and then I'm struggling to find it. I should probably scoot around, because I did before, and then I kind of lost sight of all the important stuff. There we go. I mean, there's not a lot of space for this heatsink. I need to put the Celeron one in which is a lot smaller, a lot lower, and should still cool this fine because it's not a quad core or anything. I mean, it's probably possible to solder on a new pin, but I'm just not going to mess with that. It's like a kind of pre-made connector there, so probably easier to just resolder the fan connector. But if I'm honest, I'm not even that into this generation of board. The Intel P45, which I'll probably also do a stream on, that is a much better board. I've got a really nice Gigabyte P45 board same socket as this, supports the same CPU, but that has 1600 MHz DDR3 instead of the 667 DDR2 this supports, which, as you can imagine, much nicer. Also supports 8GB, not 3GB of memory. I mean, there is also new avatars, which I haven't said, but there is Daniel 1, 2, Daniel 2, Daniel 3, Daniel 4, and Daniel 5, which are basically different colours of the same one I've got under my name. I mean, I wanted to do face cam on this, honestly, but the position, you'd just be staring at my forehead even if I got that working. So I am now a PNG because it's the most feasible option, I feel. Now, this board, one weird quirk about it supports ECC memory, but if you put ECC memory in, it only supports 32-bit operating systems. The weirdest thing ever, and it's also not supposed to support ECC memory. I just had some, and I stuck it in, and that's the result. When I actually got proper DDR2 and stuck it in, now it supports 64-bit operating systems, as it should. So that's a very, very odd thing that happened. I need to get the power cable in. So yeah, this is the 20+4 pin power connector. They often work with 20 pins, but this is, I think it's a power supply from 2010. Things from all over the place. But this is a decent one. I can try and look in it. I think it's a 300 watt, though. I can't see that closely. Not without my glasses, at least. But I think it's a 300 watt continuous power supply. So it's not an awful unit. It can power what I'm putting in here. It's not a gaming unit, but I'm not putting something super heavy in. If I was putting a quad core in and a 1650 half height and stuff like that. But I'm not doing that, so it'll power it just fine now. Sorry, I keep hitting the camera. Could probably also slide that back a little so it gets a better angle. I mean, I feel like here's the issue. I want to get this in, but I have to stick my finger underneath a board like so. Because I don't want the board to bend and then just me destroy something with the capacitors or whatever and like delatching them and then it not making contact and all that. Someone actually did, I see a video, and they had a capacitor Plague era machine and all the capacitors is like inflated, yet the thing's still booted, which it's like you probably shouldn't boot it like that, but yeah, that thing somehow worked. This is, as I say, this board manufactured in 2007. I think 2006 to 7, capacitor Plague was thankfully over with, so it's not something I've had an issue with. If I had a floppy drive, we actually have power for a floppy, which doesn't stretch very far at all, to be honest. And it actually has a floppy signal connector. So this setup, in general, would support a floppy, but unfortunately, unless I maybe remove the DVD drive, which I do not want to do, I'm not getting a floppy in. You can also get a USB floppy drive, so they're cheap enough that instead of trying to change the entire case and everything, it's better to just get a USB one at that point. Okay, so we've got the SATA for the DVD drive there. I do have something which I bought, which is 100 of these, supposedly. So I can keep the cabling fairly tidy. We've got the USB 2. It has 1394. I mean, this front panel, you can't really see it, but just this piece here, it's from another system. One of the USB ports is broken. So I'm like, I'm just going to steal this circuit board and put it on my other machine. And this gets the bad circuit board. Which still works with one USB, but, you know, my nice art PC with the Quadro RTX and everything, I wanted the header for that, so I just stole it. So AC 97 HD audio. Honestly, nothing I've ever seen has actually used the AC97 audio, so I'm surprised they still have that on cases. I'll just go in. 1394 is there, it's that red one. This does have a lot of legacy stuff on, being from the era it's on. Even being a micro ATX board. It also has one feature which they've removed from newer boards, because on a more modern board, the most I've seen is like 3 PCIe ports. This has PCI X16, PCI X1, and 2 old style PCIs. For some reason, these old micro ATX boards have more PCI lanes. And I don't know why they started taking that away from us. It's a very useful thing to have. Especially if you're loading a PC with cards for one specific reason or another. So there's USB 5, 6, and 7 and 8. 5, 6, 7. And they are the front panel ones. We only need one header here. Although I do have a case which would use both of them. It's useful to have for that and hitting my lamp again. Which I kind of need because the C920 can't focus otherwise. So I'll probably end up using some of my cable tidies. Around about here. I feel also like, oh dear. Going to have to unplug this because put it around the other edge of that. And that's not going to tidy up nicely at all. Did I put this USB 2? I put that in the USB 2, but I thought I'd put it in the 1394 for a moment. Do not want to put it in the 1394. Thankfully, this is still kind of on camera. I feared I'd, like, shuffled the case and it's not on camera anymore. So there is... yeah. My head's just being slow. But I have got the 1394. That can go here. There is the audio cable back around there. So I think I want this all to go on this side. I can tidy this up a bit later. For now, I just have to try and get the stuff in a relatively tidy manner. Gonna have to stick my hand through the tripod here. Hopefully not knock it. There we go. I feel like this stream is only going to go half an hour or something because it's just been so easy. Like, nothing has gone wrong other than me putting the hard drive in the wrong way. I have a SATA cable here, which is very weird, flimsy looking SATA cable. As far as I know, this thing works perfectly, so it'll do the job. So this can go here. And I mean, we still have 2 SATAs free. But as I say at the start, I'm not putting an SSD in this. This would not be period accurate at all. And it seems to have suddenly got a lot hotter while I am streaming. Because of course it would. I'm not even... I don't know. I mean, I know my gaming PC makes a lot of heat. But I'm going to say, like, that's the only PC I've got on. So, how it's staying so hot, I do not know. It's been like this a whole week, though. And I feel today is the best day ever there's going to be for heat. Like, it's somewhat cooler. I think if it's, well, it's 5 now. It was supposed to peak for heat at about 3. According to the local weather site. Which I trust far more than something like the BBC, which pretty much always lies about the weather. You go on the BBC and they say one thing, and then it ends up being something completely different. It doesn't even go just for the weather. They lie about, like, anything you can imagine. They lie about how to make a cake. They just can't help themselves. So... because they lie about making a cake and it comes out really bad when you actually make it. There is... trying to work out which way the SATA cable goes up. I am totally a professional. I think it goes this way up. Yes, I did a thing correctly. I mean, what you may notice with this optical drive, it is actually bent. Like, it is just not straight at all, but it still works perfectly. I do not know how that is the case. Like, you'd think some circuit board would get snapped or whatever when the drive is like that on the edge instead of like that, but it works perfectly. And okay, so I think this is all the basic connectors done. As I say, I don't know if this video card works, but this is my other option, the GT720. Although I need to find my DisplayPort to HDMI connector there so I can get the capture card in, because none of these are powerful graphics cards. So to run any kind of game on them, I will need to get that. Now, what I did see, I did find one video on YouTube from, I don't know, it was 11 years ago or 12 years ago or something. Someone ran Portal on one of these at 1080p. It actually ran quite well. So, you know, it's like, that's not going to bottleneck us too much. We should be able to at least do some gaming here, if not exactly modern gaming. Should be able to have a playthrough of something on it. But the capture card, the reason I mentioned that, which is over there, I can't really grab it right now. That is very useful because I can capture 1080p out of that. And I can play a game through this without worrying about running extra software on top of it. I think Portal should run on 3 GB of RAM as well. And the E6600 should all run fine. As I say, that game came out in 2008. Dual cores, I'd say, were probably predominant then. Single cores even were probably still around quite a lot. Like, the Pentium 4s only went out of production in 2007, so we've got that to do. We've got that to help us. I mean, I played Lego Lord of the Rings on my Celeron laptop fairly recently, and that basically is a single core. For a modern machine as well. That's basically a single core. It says 1.1 GHz dual core, but most of the time it just runs a 2.8 single core. I love that thing though, as bad as it technically is. The thing is just so comically slow. What is this? I found another connector actually while I'm messing around. I think that's the front panel. We should be safe here, because it's all like lumped into one connector. A lot of systems that's different, but I think being a 775 socket board, yeah. A dimension, that's a Dell if I remember correctly. I have to look at that. Okay. See you soon, Cat. I do have to look at the 8400 now though. So oh yeah, that does look like one of the pre-775 boards. I actually have a bit of an Easter egg for that. If I can just find it, hopefully without stretching. Oh, the cable's cut. And cat plushie has flown down. Hopefully it didn't hit the mic too hard. Anyway, this is, I don't have the actual Dell, but I have a pretty nice keyboard from 2001, I believe. It's got the Windows 9X key, so it can't be newer than 2001. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this brings a bit of nostalgia back. I just find these things cheap sometimes over the years in the charity shops. I've got one from 2023 as well. Like, that Dell is actually nicer to type on than I expected, but I figured, hey, it's £3, I'm gonna give it a try. For some reason, it's always Dell keyboards I find cheap. But the Dell keyboards are also pretty nice. Find a few HP ones, but they're either broken or I just don't like them at all, so I don't buy them. I don't know. But yeah, that's the one thing I've got from that era. I mean, as I say, there's capacitor plague. If I really want a Pentium 4, I do have a Pentium 4 this originally came with before I upgraded it, so I could just use a 775 Pentium 4s. I just avoid the capacitor plague stuff as it's generally going to be more trouble than it's worth. So, yeah, the front panel... Anyway, before I got distracted. There we go. So, I think this is pretty much done. This is at least all the main stuff done. And it'll go on like that. This is the front panel. As you will see, I found some electrical tape. So I've just basically said, don't use this port, it doesn't work. This is from 2017 also. The general case is from 2017, but it started production in 2010. Sorry, yes, it's from 2017, but it started production in 2020. That totally makes sense. I mean, this is just fun to me. So, I'll either get this working as it stands, or I will fail with this GPU, because it's not worked before for me, and I will just stick the 720 in. And apparently... Okay, I don't know why it's deleting that. I don't know why. I could view deleted message, but I feel like I'm just tempting fate at that point. So, is it? I think it might be because it's capitals. Nightbot. Yeah, it says it's capitals. At least Nightbot hasn't banned you, so I'm happy enough about that. I don't know, maybe Nightbot just doesn't like it when you use capitals. Anyway, High Plains. This is a bunch of bits which is supposed to be period accurate to 2006. I have managed to get pretty much everything connected now, so I could try opening the cable ties, which will do wonders for actually how this thing looks. These existed in 2006, I mean... Probably goes without saying. I could just get scissors, but I'm going to use my razor sharp fingers to just get into this. There we go. Managed to pull two of them out, apparently. I mean, Nightbot is working, though. I did have a feature, actually, I want to try. There is also avatars. I've got, like, Daniel 1 through 5, so if you want to try them, there's different hair colours, basically. So if I go... Trying to... Oh... No, wait, Nightbot is a cheese. Somehow. So I should be able to do that, and that should give me avatars. That should give me a different hair colour, basically. I mean, I tried setting all this stuff up over time, but I've had all the medical stuff and whatever, so not really got to test it. Yeah. So I now have black hair, which I did actually draw once in Gartic. I drew it in Gartic Phone, which was an interesting spin on my character. Probably where I got the idea from. But there's a few others. I think there's like a bluish colour as one of the numbers, which is quite nice. Like, I don't know, like light bluish coloured hair. I guess what you could see on the Danielle, image I drew. That I just stuck in the corner because I had nothing better to put there. Hi, Weevo. This is my... Yes, I'm finally back for the anniversary of a Core2Duo. I think I did see that. I saw the post on the Unicorn Gundam. I do have the community on this channel as well, so you could post it there if you want to, I don't know, share it with my subscribers or whatever. There is... Yeah, this is my Radeon R7240, which probably won't work. But I will hopefully be making more videos. It's just getting the seizures under control and stuff. I feel like I'm under enough control now. If I do start, like, moving, like, my arms just go like that, and then I'll have to stop streaming because that can escalate pretty quickly. But currently, I seem to be stable, so should be able to stream. I do need to locate my scissors, so I'll be a moment because that we don't want to stick up like that for a start, but we also don't want this tail here getting caught. I was in hospital because I had a seizure, and I mean, at first it broke my back because my back basically went like that, and it broke itself while I was having the seizure, and that wasn't good. Then I had a seizure in the shower, which, again, it's just, I survived it, but I've been having seizure issues, so it's just caused a few issues, but I have recovered. I mean, they couldn't stop me walking. Even with a broken back, I walked to that ambulance. And I have got, I've got the new avatars, as I say. I did that in hospital, so got Daniel 1, Daniel 2, Daniel 3, 4, 5, and that is different hair colours, basically, of the avatar you'll see on my profile. So, I will get the scissors anyway, as I say. Hopefully I'll be back to normal for a while. I mean, I've not completely eliminated the seizures, but there's been no bad seizures. Wait, what's the street deck? I don't know. Anyway, I will hopefully be back to normal for a while. It's just... For now, I've got it under control enough that I can stream again. Before what happened, I tried to stream and then I ended up having a seizure while streaming, which I was terrified would happen again for a while if I weren't 100% sure I'm stable. Okay, so that's sticking up there. I am fine though. I mean, I started out getting some videos, edited videos, so I have been doing something with my while. Ah yeah, the chassis. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if in America those Dells are appreciated loads, but here you can still get that stuff really cheap, actually. So, I don't know. It's entirely possible. I'm just being ignorant, and in America, early 2000s, computer stuff has gone up massively. I mean, either that, the very early Pentium 4s, I believe, are worth something. A VR in an RC car. That actually rhymes. Intentionally or not. And YouTube, I'm sure I paused the video so it wouldn't eat my bandwidth. The stream has just, like, continued. And I don't want it doing that because it eats bandwidth. So when it's just playing. I mean, I will probably be streaming Tomodachi Life, given if this all goes well. So, that's a thing, I guess. Now, this has to like fold over, and as you'll see, it doesn't like folding over completely. Ah, sleeper build. I mean, it might work. The thing is, Ford. I think, is it the modern Ford Bronco? I know there was one of them in Forza I played with a while ago. Not got the latest Forza because it's a lot of money and I'm cheap. I'll buy it when it goes down in price. But yeah. I do remember seeing like a off-road kind of Well, not derby. Been playing too much BeamNG where there's derby cars. Kind of race one. Yeah, rally truck. I remember something like that. Don't know, do they have a pickup truck version of a Bronco? Or is it all like the SUV type body? I don't know. There is actually, I did find out something. The Bronco is, yeah, the old one's interesting, but it's the kind of thing, knowing what I know, I kind of wouldn't want one of those cars daily because they can often ride quite rough. Like, the nostalgia factor is there, but unless you refit it with modern suspension and stuff, I feel the ride would be agricultural, for a lack of a better term. But anyway, there is Goodwood Festival of Speed. I don't think I've ever been to that. I don't know, because I'm like a weird kind of car enthusiast and I'm obsessed with ride comfort. I'm like the Prius drivers who try and get, what, 200 miles per gallon or whatever. Like, performance is the, I feel, well-known car enthusiast thing, and then there's all like the sub-enthusiasts, which no one ever talks about. But it's like the Prius is an enthusiast car. It's just not an enthusiast car for those who want performance. Anyway, as I was saying, Revo, I have found something out recently. There is a Skoda mod for BeamNG, and it has the, what's it, Felicia Fun thing, which is like the pickup truck one. And I do feel like I just had an absence, but it should be fine as long as it doesn't escalate. My mind just like cut out for a moment. Don't know if it's a heat or what. But yeah, if it gets really bad, I'll have to end the stream before something happens. But for now, I am stable enough. Yeah. I mean, there is fun to being fast and that, but it's not like my expertise area, would you say? Now, this is not fitting. I have put bits of different PCs together, so I don't know. Can I? I don't think this is gonna work. I do remember with some of these. Have I screwed that in? Because I'm just thinking, have I put it in upside down? Yeah, the Prius is the pretty good car. Like, the thing about the Prius, they made a car, I think, for just normal people. But it's not really exciting, and that's what it gets to people. Like, this car, there's BMWs and they're more fun, but the BMWs are typically not that reliable. So is it, I don't know, is bus spotting, is there something going on with that? I think that's screwed in. Yeah, it is. So that isn't moving. I probably won't do this on stream, but I'm going to need to search for a different power supply, because this has the stuff on the top, and then as you'll see, blocks that going down. I think the one I need is a version of this where the connector's at the bottom. Very interesting. I had the same issue with the one I built with an i7-8700 in one of these cases, and that I just got a shorter power supply which cuts off about there. I think it was called Power Max, and it was like the shortest of these TFX power supplies, which I had to get for that particular system. I mean, I could ramble on and on about this. This is my Chinese Wi-Fi. Yes. I do actually... The more I think about it, the more I feel like I should just put the old PCI Wi-Fi in because it's more period accurate. And I haven't brought it up yet. The oldest car's Kia Sport Touch Original. I mean, is that sport? Is that Sportage and it's correct auto corrected it? I know there's a Sportage. I don't think I've heard of Sport Touch before, but I know there was a Sportage. Oh, it's a C5. Is that the first gen C5 or is that the second gen? I know I've got the second gen, although because of the epilepsy and stuff I can't currently drive it, but I am keeping that car for a great number of years. This, anyway. Oh yeah, the first gen, interesting fact about the first gen, all of the C5s had hydraulic suspension. Like all of them, all trims. Although I believe some of them had a slightly upgraded version. All the C5s had the hydraulic suspension. And then on the second gen, it was a, only the top trim, which I have got. So this is, anyway, if I actually get the cable. This is something else I've got. Not specifically for this build, but it is a Raptor Gaming K1. Basically a rebranded Cherry keyboard. And there was a German site reviewed one in late 2005. They said it's also got a USB 1.1 hub on. That German website, even though it wasn't even in English, it gave me a lot of information. USB 1.1, very slow. Even this has 4 USB 2s on the back of the board, so you don't want 1.1. It's useful for a mouse, which, speaking of which, 2005 Microsoft Comfort Mouse 3000. C1. Yeah, C1 is a fair amount smaller than the C5. Oh dear. Yeah, I think my mind, like, thinks of the Saxo. They were the predecessors. They actually look a lot more sporting. Like, if you're looking at the outside, I think the Saxo and 106 are actually pretty stylish. I'm not sure I like what they did styling-wise with the C1, personally, and the sister cars of it. And I think that's all I can do for now, anyway. This is also my 3 terabyte drive. This was literally in the system, but I had to put a 500 from a HP machine because 2006. So actually, there was one thing. Now I was thinking of it. Like this would allow me to use the external power button, but because of the way the front panel on this attaches, it's all one connector. It would be a nightmare to try and rewire that, so I'm not going to bother. I mean, this should be prepared to boot. If I can install Windows, that's what I'll do. I have Flameflower. Was that, I think, red and white? If I remember correctly, I'm guessing. I honestly don't know enough about Gundam. I have got a cable tie. That is actually, I think, a decent place to finish off. I mean, as I say, I think I got... It was either 50 or 100. Either way, I've got plenty of these cable ties to actually really tidy this thing up. Important for airflow, and I've just realised I'm going to have to change the power supply. So any cable tying now, England is in custody of Miku. Well, there is a Miku, yes. I can see that. Oh yeah, the black and red. I think I did do a red-haired Daniel avatar. It's one of them. As I said, there's 1 to 5. I think one of them was red-haired. It might be 3. I'm just making a guess here. I mean, I set all this stuff up and I can't even remember it. Ah, yeah, so black and red. I'm trying to remember that. I don't know. I can't. My mind is just drawing a blank. I can't remember it. It is a good colour combo, though. It's almost like volcanic, for lack of a better term. Oh, that's the... Well, I found the fire one. I found the fiery hairdo. Like, I just played around with, like, the hue and stuff on the hair. And I made a few of them. I could have gone colour, but it would have actually been harder. The way I've shaded it and everything. So, yeah, the power supply is going to have to be changed. So anything that, like, connects in here, I can't cable tie because I've also got one in there. I'll probably finish up here anyway, unless there's a way I can magically make that fit, but I can't. I will show the front and rear if I can get it on camera. So, oop. There is the back panel. At least all the stuff that matters. Got our USBs, one of which is broken. 6420. Wait, 2004 to 2026. I'm trying to remember. Socket 775 launched in 2004. As you can tell, I think about this stuff far too much. Socket 775 was 2004 to 2011, so it outlasted that. I mean, 2004 still isn't old to me. Oh, I've clicked that in for all it's worth. Apparently it wasn't clicked in originally. That is the integrated video for the Intel GMA whatever. I am not using that. If you know anything about the old style Intel GMA, they are not very good. Which is precisely why I have a video card. If a low power one. One ALX 400 left. I think they call them Alex, don't they? 6402. I mean, it's like these numbers I don't understand, but at the same time, I can remember there is 4 or 5 775 chips with 67 in the prefix. Like this, I can remember this stuff, like the Q6700, the E6700, the Pentium E6600. So yeah, here's the funny thing. There was a Core2Duo E6700, which was one of the nicest ones, above this in the range, 6600. There was also a Pentium E6700. Oh, the confusion of having two processors with like the exact same model name. And I mean, it happened quite a bit, because they just overlapped, and like, Intel, what are you thinking? So yeah, anyway, I will be finishing this. Hopefully, I'll find another power supply, and I will get the thing together, and I will... That was because I had it booted once, and there was nothing to block the light, so that's basically there to stop the light being too bright. That's the only reason there's tape there. And then we have... This is a power button. So underneath, pretty much every system, you'll have a power button like this. And then you'll have underneath, it's just like a little tiny puny switch like that. Audio, another broken USB. That's from my stuff. And a working USB and our audio. So that's what we've got for now. I mean, hopefully the stream was somewhat enjoyable. Because I will have to round it off. As this thing stands. Wait, so say Volvo bus engine produced in 1990. If it was if it was produced in 1990, how was it a 2004 bus? Unless it was introduced then. I know the Volkswagen 1.9 TDI, they used for quite a while. It was introduced many years back, possibly even like the 1980s, and they just kept making it. I think they kept making the 1.9, they added a turbo, and then they kept making it until like 2000 and late 2000s somewhere. I mean, anyway, as I say, it was fun to stream again after all this time. Hopefully I'll be back without near as much of a hiatus as before. It's not like Oshinoko where I just suddenly have children immediately when I return. Oh dear. I mean, I already have Sakura, so that is my child. I mean, here's my fancy screwdriver, which does fancy things. Like that. Can I get it to drop? Yes. Anyway, thanks. Yeah, the body was produced in 2000. Yeah, so they probably just kept me. None. Is that like what was it? Shikanoko? Was it? No, Nokotan. That was it. That was like the deer anime, deer girl anime. I remember. Although it's probably nothing to do with that, and I'm just having random memories for stuff. Anyway, I will be saying goodbye. I can get one more thing while I'm finishing off, because I think it's fun. I have a box of goodies here, so I can just stick that on camera, why not? And there are various bits from this heatsink I bought, which is actually in the art PC at the moment, just bits I'm not using. This is the fan of a Quadro RTX 5000, one of the very early Quadro cards, which I mentioned before, and it's a bad fan. Because it's gone and I had to replace it with one from AliExpress. Because that card, it's probably been crypto mining before I got it. And I put it in a case with very poor airflow. It's not had an easy life. So if I'm to keep using that card, it needed a new fan. So I did that. I did a thing. This is what like a graphics card fan is, basically. And then it's got this little I think pretty much all of them are seen. They've got this little fan port that goes into the video card. So if you see a graphics card with fans, they'll have one or more of these little connectors that goes onto the main board. Oh yeah, so remaining 6406, 64... Ooh, I remember one of those numbers. 6420, I think, was a Core2Duo. Now I have to check that. I have to see if that number corresponds in my head and I've remembered it correctly. It is! The Core2 6420 is real! I knew it! Well, I say I knew. I wasn't sure. No, there is a Core2Duo 6420. Did it say E6420? I don't know. But it is a Core2Duo. Anyway, I'll be leaving it here for today. The YouTube community is open, so... You know, I think it only lets you post one thing a day, but that is still open, so... Stuff can be posted there in the meantime. Hopefully, as I say, I'll be streaming next. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bus and a Core2Duo. But I remembered it was a Core2Duo. Yeah, anyway, as I say, community is open, so stuff can be posted there. And I will be back. This world can't stop me. It can only slow me down. Anyway, I'll leave it here, and I'll say goodbye. Until another day.